We'll give everyone a few more minutes to log in, and then we will get started. Okay, so fortunately, there's a lot of familiar faces here. I'm Coach Jimmy. I am the lead coach on high school and senior groups. I also am the lead coach on Tiger Shark, girls coach at Fossil Ridge High School, and an assistant coach with the boys team at Fossil. Mike Novell is our head coach. Doug Stone's our head age group coach, and Allie Jacobs is our program coordinator. Our mission statement at FAST is world-class character through excellence in swimming. And I think FAST does a better job of incorporating that statement into our everyday operations. I can say that I am the person I am today through my experience in swimming and going through school, high school, college, entering the workforce. I think FAST does a better job of preparing our athletes to be better citizens um, than any other program I've been a part of. And I think that will ultimately lead to everyone being more successful in everything they do. the and then branching off from that, we want everyone to be as well-rounded as possible. So that means from the swimming side of things, we are very IM based. I think just about everyone is swimming one of the IMs at Scary Fast, if not both. And a varying of distances, everything from the 50 up to the mile. And the other part of our training is dry land, and that is just as important as the swimming portion, as it's going to help us prevent injuries, recover from injuries, and make us better all the way around. Expectations. So for senior group, I plan for 100% attendance every single practice. That's our 6 mornings during the week and our 3 dry land workouts. That being said, there is a minimum attendance of 80%. When you guys miss practices, I expect that to be communicated to me. That can be through email, but also through the groups GroupMe. And the upside to that is, especially if it's not a practice that I'm supervising, Coach Mike will also see that. And he is in there to abide by our safe sport policies. And parents are also welcome to join that too. I think both the high school and senior group links are still in my weekly email, and I'll be sure to keep those in there for at least the next couple weeks. Um, High school group, there isn't any required attendance, although it is encouraged that you guys come to as many practices as you can. And that level of participation should reflect your guys' goals. Since we do have to rent out the entire facility for senior and Artes Saturday mornings, those are open for high school swimmers to attend. And I think there were at least a couple boys who were entertaining the idea of coming to the workout this morning. So hopefully you guys did. Otherwise, we'll be back at it on Monday. For the most part, we have pretty good listening skills, with everyone still being separated at opposite ends of the pool, being at full attention and not talking while either I, Coach Mike, or Coach Chris are talking is going to be crucial, especially as at the point where we are in the season where I'm going to be asking a little bit more out of our sets. They're going to be more detail oriented. There's going to be, like we saw this past Thursday, brackets inside of brackets. And the quicker and more efficient that I can communicate those things to you guys, the more time we can spend actually swimming and getting better. Everyone should review our fast code of conduct at least semi-regularly, and failure to abide by the items in there will result in a meeting with me. Hopefully it doesn't have to go past that, and we'll discuss the fast code of conduct and the disciplinary conduct that goes with any of those particular violations. So each season's broken into 4 different phases. And if we look at this COVID season, starting back in June, that was sort of I would say that 4 to 6 weeks was sort of our developmental general conditioning phase. So where we saw a lot of kick over the summer. And as we transitioned back into Epic, and we were a bit more in shape mid-July into August, we saw an increase in our aerobic and our endurance work, which we're still in now. And then as we sort of start getting ready for the end of for December and our February meets, we'll transition into a little more race specific and championship phases. So something that I still need to work out with Coach Mike is some kids might rest in suit for Scary Fast to try to qualify for the CSI Senior Championships, and either to qualify for that or to help with their college recruiting, or for some of our college athletes, give their college coaches times to have an idea of where they are when they're able to return to school. During a normal year, the best times for vacations are going to be August over spring break, Christmas break, May and early June. And bad times are going to be November, January, March, and then late June and July. So this year being a little bit different. Obviously, we continued training through August. Spring break, we'll see. We're usually wrapping up all of our high-end championship meets by then. Christmas break is going to be a little bit different. Personally, I think senior group should try to continue training through the winter break if possible. But then on the flip side of that, that's going to be backing right into the start of the girls' high school season. So everyone who plans on swimming and wants to be pretty successful with their high school season should try to continue swimming through the winter break. And I actually had to leave the CHASA coaches meeting because, as far as I know, it's still going on. And they're going to be very different. We're pretty restricted on just about everything, but the best way any of the girls can make sure that they're ready for that season is to train as much and as hard as they can over the next few months. So our practice schedule is online, and if there's any changes with that, I try to update that as soon as we get out of our weekly staff meeting on Fridays. Any last minute changes are communicated in the group's GroupMe, text message, and email. So if your families don't have the text messaging enabled on their account, it's recommended that you guys add that. And I also ditched my Texas phone number over the last couple weeks and have gone local. So I put that in the chat for any parents who have sort of an in case of emergency type thing need to get a hold of me. I'll also put that in the weekly email this week. So parents will always have access to their kids. With the current limitations at Epic, we're allowed 75 people on deck and in the stands. Mulberry, I'm not 100% sure what those restrictions are, or if they're like fairly similar to Epic, where the balcony is like a separate room than the pool area. But while the high school group is swimming, it is me, the kids, and a lifeguard on deck. So we don't have to worry about any building violations if any parents wanted to sit in on those workouts. We do have all of our meets currently up. We are still working on details for a potential November meet. As far as I know, that meet is it's looking to be relays and some distance events to try to get some relays qualified for the CSI senior championships, but also to give everyone an opportunity to swim some of those races that are only offered a couple times a year. And I know for a fact that many people in both groups need to hit some distance races, some 500, some 1,000, some miles. So hopefully that all works out and we can get those races in. We don't have to worry about trying to squeeze them in during a championship meet weekend. With the senior group, everyone is expected to compete at meets. High school group, it's highly recommended that you guys do. The best analogy that I can make is our regular in-season meets are sort of like quizzes, and championship meets are going to be your final exams. So seeing how you guys perform at meets it helps me see where you guys are in your training, where we need to improve, and we can make those adjustments before our championship meets. If you guys aren't racing, then it's hard for me to see where you guys are, because some people swim better in practice than they do at meets and vice versa. So senior group, you're expected to compete. High school, you guys are highly recommended to compete. And I don't ever put kids in races that they're not ready for. Fortunately, at this level, you guys can swim everything. And everyone that's I think currently in this call, it should be able to at least complete those races, um, to my expectations. It may not be your guys, but that's something that we'll talk about as those races come up and afterwards. So we do have tech suit policy, and that's only for championship meets. But given the COVID season, that might sort of change. Um, that's something that'll be worked out between me and Coach Mike, and will be communicated to the groups and swimmers that affects. So chain of command, should athletes or families have any issues regarding anything, they should come to me first. Almost all the time, I share that with Coach Doug and Coach Mike to at least keep them in the loop, sometimes ask their opinion on how to handle certain situations. But if you guys feel like I didn't resolve the issue, the next step will be to talk to Coach Doug, then Coach Mike, and then finally the board president, Mark Morehouse. And that's only if I, Coach Doug, Coach Mike, aren't able to resolve the issue. For required equipment, everyone should have cap and goggles and extras in case they break, practice suit and team suits. For meets, should have a healthy snack. Our workouts are long, they are hard. At Mulberry, it is hot in there, and unless they open the senior center, it'll stay just as hot. So having an extra water bottle wouldn't hurt. Everyone should have fins, paddles, snorkel, buoy, a bag for all of your equipment. We briefly talked about it this past week, but if your paddles have a wrist strap, that comes off. And the reasoning for that is if you have a bad pull and you're going to feel it through your paddle, it's going to shift around, it's going to make it uncomfortable, and you're going to be forced to adjust your pull. The wrist strap is going to reinforce a bad pull and will ultimately lead to injury down the road. So I recommend putting the strap between your two fingers if that's the type of paddle that you have, but I won't be allowing wrist straps on paddles moving forward. Everyone should come to practice dressed for dry land. We will be moving around, warm up to swim, a little bit of dry land work for at least 30 minutes before each workout. For the most part, that hasn't been an issue. There have been some flip-flops and Crocs that have come to practice, even a pair of slippers on occasion. Everyone should come in running shoes. And that just about covers everything. Do parents or swimmers have any questions, comments, or concerns for me? Cool. Anything that I happen to leave out, I'll be sure to include in the weekly email, in addition to a recap of everything that we went over. And then if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns for me, please feel free to reach out. And I'll let you guys get back to enjoying your weekend. Thanks.